What's up, Jim? What's going on? It's good to see you too, Jen. I hope all is well. Vi, what's going on, Vi? Yeah, gonna be back at it right now. Up. I think there she is. Hold on a sec. I'm just gonna tap in Sand Travel. Just give me one sec, Sam.
Hey,
Oh my gosh, it was so funny. I was like, where is that notification?
Sam, I'm not gonna say what you're looking like out here right now.
Oh,
You're dating yourself. You're dating yourself.
this is actually my first IG live ever.
Which is amazing because like you're out there, you're so successful. So I'm surprised this is your first IG live, but I appreciate it being with me. First and foremost, simply because I've known you for man, I don't know. It seems like forever. I mean, what, 15 years or so? I don't even know. No, it wasn't 15 years. I say it's about, yeah, maybe 15 years. I think since I was about 21 to 22. I'm
I'm
not
not
so
gonna tell
sure, but
you when I was 15.
all I know is that it's been a long time. And I've seen, the evolution of, when I first met you to where you are now. It's been amazing to see the journey, from, you being, a little supermodel, doing your thing on the runaway, right? To flourishing and having your own store,
Yes.
right? Till now running your own successful travel company, being a boss and a CEO. So I mean, it's just amazing, and even on a personal level, just being married, happy, you know what I'm saying. So just salute to you, appreciate you always. You've always been in my corner, so thank you for all of that. So if you want to introduce the people, let them know just where they can find you, what services that you provide, and go from there.
So, my name is Samantha. I am a travel agency owner. It's so funny, like saying this because I say this every day, but when I feel like,
Hmm.
you know, um, I've been a travel agent for 5 years officially, a little bit over 5 years.
Hmm.
I started with doing women group trips. I don't know if you remember it. I actually started doing the women group trips when I had my store because
Yes, I remember that actually.
I hated my store. Whoever does retail, like retail is a whole
Salute.
different, yeah, that's a whole different beast. So
Woo.
I started traveling a lot and just doing group trips because I wanted to
Hmm.
travel the world. I wasn't happy with my job. As you guys know, if you are business owners that do retail, especially, it's difficult. So, I
Hmm.
had money and I just wanted to start traveling, but I just never had anyone to travel with. So for 5 years, the entire time I actually had my store, I started doing women group trips throughout the world. Um,
Hmm.
5 years into that, I decided to become a travel agent, close my store, and open up a travel agency. And I literally made
Hmm.
that decision in like 2 months. I was like, yeah, this I'm done. I'm tired of people robbing my store. I'm tired of I'm just tired of,
Jeez.
yeah. Um, and some employees too. So that's a whole other conversation. It was just a
My
mess.
goodness.
Um, so I was sitting down and I was like, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? Like, this is not it. Working 7 days a week, working at a job I don't like 7 days a week.
Hmm.
Um, I have to figure something else out. And as you know, in retail, right
Hmm.
after Christmas, it becomes really slow for like 2 or 3 months. Like after that
Yep.
Christmas rush, most stores are doing sales. It's really bad sales wise. So, oops, my light went off. Sorry. I have a whole little setup here. And I can't turn it on. No. Okay, sorry guys. Hold on. Let me turn this on. I don't know what happened to my setup. See what happens when you're not used to doing live.
Hey, it's live, man. It's all good. Yeah, go ahead.
And for me, it was like, this is the perfect time. There we go. My computer has to be on. Lord. We're going to do like a round 2 in like the fall. And I was just like, you know what? This is my slow season. If I'm going to stop being a boutique owner, like this is the time. And I was like, what do I enjoy doing? I love traveling, and I love traveling, you know, taking people around the world. So literally I made that decision in January, closed my store. And then February 1st, 2015, I became a travel agent. And I was able to open up my office like across this, not across the street, like 1 or 2 blocks away from where my boutique was. And yeah, the rest is history in Glen Cove.
It's so crazy because you've always been a hustler. From when I met you, I know like you're not really into the whole party scene like that, right? But I remember there was a good stretch of time where you was promoting parties, and I would come to the parties and we would just chill there, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm like, yo, she don't even like parties. Me, that was my thing. I love the party, right? So I was like, I'm in there. But you, I was like, she don't even like the party, but you still hustled, and made it. I
always looked at parties. I looked at it as a marketing like thing.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, to go to the parties, or I used to do remember those day parties? I used to do them every month for like
every month. I know, and I was there every month for those 2 years. I was like, yo, you throwing a party? I'm there. I'm like, yo, I'm with it. Like, I was like, where the ladies gonna be at? I know Sam gonna bring them out.
Yeah, it was like you guys and like 50 girls.
Yeah, I appreciate that too, by the way. Thank you.
You're welcome. But I did that. That for me, it was always marketing, because when you're a business owner, if you're doing it correctly, like you are your brand, and you should be marketing your business 24/7. So for me, it was never I'm going out to a party. Like if it didn't serve a purpose, like I wasn't gonna do it.
Right.
You know, I ended up having fun. I ended up like loving it, but to me, it's like, okay, I'm doing this because not just to go and get drunk and do all that stuff. I'm doing this because a couple of girls may want to travel with me, you know, like
right.
So yeah,
I went for different reasons, but that's the point. So we're gonna just fast forward that there. So how has entrepreneurship changed your life? Like, how has that impacted your life in a positive way?
You know what? It's such a weird question, because I feel like I've always been an entrepreneur.
I know.
I think
you have.
I had one real job outside of college, and it's so funny because that job was working for Travel Impressions, which is a travel company that I now do.
Wow,
you know,
it's amazing.
Yeah, and I worked there for about a year, and I'm like, they really want me to come in every day at 9. Like every day.
Every day.
And I had a cubicle. I was like, oh, I'm one of those people, like if I can't see myself doing this, like I can't see myself doing it. So I think I did it for a year.
Yeah, I feel you.
And then I started modeling at the same time. So from that, model full time, I was bartending part time. So for me, that was, you know, I was 21. So that's when I started that whole thing. Even though I'm only 30. I'm only 30. We're gonna.
Okay.
I stopped aging at 30.
All right. Okay.
You know,
we good.
Like for me, it's been a long time that that's all I know is how to be an entrepreneur. Like, and I'm lucky because I don't think that everyone is able to be an entrepreneur. I was just in a position where, you know, I didn't have any kids. I didn't have a mortgage. I started out early. So I think it was
really early,
easier for me to do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fast forward now, you're running a successful Just Adventures. That's
Yes.
the name of your business. And
Yes.
you're running a successful company, and then COVID hits. And it impacts ironically, the travel industry. It hits it by storm.
Yeah.
And, the airlines are laying off. There's like a lots of things going on. Nobody's flying in or out. So how have you been able to navigate, you know, managing a business through COVID,
It's been tough.
especially your business?
I know, like that's my whole livelihood. It's
Hmm.
it's going to be a weird answer because I always look at long term, and I think
Hmm.
the businesses or the entrepreneurs that are going to be successful are the ones who, I should say, survive this, are the ones who have
Right.
a further outlook. I do
Right.
well. Did have 80 agents at the beginning of the
Hmm.
year, and
Right.
I also teach people how to become travel agents. But
Hmm.
I see that a lot of travel agents, a lot of my agent, not a lot, a few of my agents and a lot of travel agents I know just quit the industry. Like COVID hit and it
Yeah.
was just like, I need a regular job. I need to do something. For
Hmm.
me, I always look at my company as I'm going to do this for like the next 50 years. So this is
Right.
just something that happened that I just have to ride out, you know?
Mm.
And
That's
I always
awesome.
look at I always look at the opportunity in
Hmm.
everything. When this happened, Phil also was, we had just came back. Literally the day after we came back was when New York shut down from our
Yeah.
vacation. And we were
Hmm.
talking about it. And I was like, you know what? I was like, this sucks. Like for the first week, it sucked as a travel agent because
Hmm.
everybody's canceling. I do weddings, which is a whole other thing. But then I
Hmm.
was like, this is an opportunity for me because I'm so busy. Like I was always so
Hmm.
busy that I never really had time to sit down for a
Right.
long time and actually worked on my business because I was always working in my business. So
Right.
for me, and this is what I tell a lot of my agents and other travel agents, to use this time to make your business better. So the last
Hmm.
couple of months, I've been, we redid our website, completely redid our marketing just to prepare ourselves for when this is going to be over. Because it will.
Hmm.
I think a lot for you to be successful as a business owner, you just have to say, okay, you know what? This sucks, but what am I putting in place for when this is over?
Right.
Because this is
Mm.
not going to happen forever.
Hmm.
So that's one of the things that I've been doing to manage a little bit
Hmm.
COVID, but also people are still traveling.
Hmm.
So yes, most of my clientele this year, rescheduled or anything like that, but I still every day am being contacted by clients. Right before this live, I had 2 consultations. Like, so
Right.
people are always going to travel. And I think regardless of what business you're in, um, you have to look at it like, okay, once I'm through this hump, it's going to get better, but I need to be doing things in this space, because you may
Hmm.
never have this downtime ever again,
Right.
you know?
Dope. I think my friend Jen raised her hand. She said that she's a COVID bride. She got married in COVID. Um,
Yeah.
uh, my boy Wes said it's all about the mindset. My brother Brian's on the check-in. He said, "Fact, shout out to you." So even though
See,
you've
I have to now. I have to look at the comments to see this whole live thing. It's a lot happening.
yeah, you all right. You all right. You doing good. So when it comes to managing, you also consult, right? So you also have, you know, so you also do a lot of different consulting as well, right? So you also still have different streams of income coming in, right? So how
Ooh,
important,
that's
you
a
know?
big too. Regardless if you
Hmm.
have a 9 to 5 or if you have, if you're an entrepreneur, that
Hmm.
multiple stream of income hits
Hmm.
different during this time because yes, I may not, like say most of my clients cancel. I'm still consulting.
Mm-hmm.
or I'm still doing other
Awesome.
things where money's still coming in. So yes,
Right, right,
that's a
right.
necessity, you know?
A necessity.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, so all right. So Jen said that she was able to switch her wedding to March 2021. Very, very
So
good.
that's
Very, very
what
good.
my clients did. Thank God,
Mm-hmm.
most of my clients switched to next year. So I have probably one wedding left this year, which is this is terrible, in September in Mexico. And Mexico is still open. So, and my
Okay.
client has to be Mexican. So she is like, I'm just going home. So it's fine.
Oh, so she's going home. So
Yeah.
okay.
But
Mm-hmm.
most of my brides actually switched to next year. Yeah.
Mm. Oh. Um. So when it comes to, I like to talk about mental health a lot, and so how do you think travel impacts mental health, like, or the ability to travel?
For someone like me, I travel, like you said, I'm not a partier. Like, I'm not, my idea of
Right.
turning up, going to the spa, like, I'm not trying to
You've
do
always
Vegas.
been classy. You've always been so classy.
I will be drunk at the spa, so maybe not too classy,
Yeah.
but I am a wellness traveler, right? And I feel like most people don't travel for wellness, which a lot of people travel because they feel like, okay, you know what, I've been working, I want to go away, I want to party, or I want to, explore, which is all great reasons. But for me, I work so much. So when I travel, I'm like, I need a break. Like,
Hmm.
I specifically am one of those people, like, I'm always in work mode. I do work when I travel still, but I think it's imperative that you go away, especially if you could go someplace that don't have Wi-Fi everywhere,
Hmm.
and just take some time out for yourself. If you travel like that, it really, really, I can't even, emphasize how much it's beneficial for your mental health, or just your
Hmm.
overall health, because we need a break, especially here in the
Yeah.
US. And that's one thing with
Mm.
traveling and just seeing how other cultures and how other people live. We're always on, we're
Hmm.
always working. And it's like most people get 2 weeks vacation, which is, if you're in Europe, that's unheard of. They get 6 weeks,
Hmm.
8 weeks to start,
Jeez.
because
Hmm.
they know the value of, they call it holiday, going on a holiday and going away for months and just getting yourself back together. And I feel like most people need to start really doing that. And you don't have
Hmm.
to go somewhere exotic. You can literally just say, you know what, I just need a weekend. It could be
Yep.
to Bermuda, and just
Hmm.
lay out on the beach for a couple of days just to get your mind off of everything. It's honestly, it's such a great thing to do. And
Hmm.
it's really important to do for mental health, I think, for mine at
Right.
least.
Nah, and for mine too. And so with everything that's been going on, I know it's been stressful, cancellations, rescheduling, it impacting your agents, your business in a certain way, and just everyday life of what's going on in this climate here in the US, right? So what else do you do to kind of enhance your mental health? Like what other tips do you have that you may have that you might share with us, you know what I'm saying, that make it help somebody else?
So one of the big things for me, again, like I said, I'm a wellness traveler, but
Hmm.
I was a yoga instructor because I'm Jamaican and I have 20
Yeah.
million jobs.
Yeah.
But I've been practicing yoga since college. And for
Wow.
me, yeah, for me, it was more, I like the strength building of yoga, which a lot of people don't really think about for yoga, but the side
It's
effect
crazy.
for is it calms me, and I think anyone who
Hmm.
practices it. So I think and it doesn't have to be yoga, it could be just anything where again, you have a chance to get your mind off of something or get your mind off of your daily,
Hmm.
stresses. So it could be running for a lot of people, which I could never
Hmm.
get into. I tried to be a runner. Like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
So for me, it's yoga, it's meditation, even if it's 20 minutes a day, you know, where I'm just like, okay, I don't feel like working out. I don't feel like doing anything. But if I just do a 20-minute, you know, yoga class or something like that, I'll feel better. I know I'll feel better. And it always works. So that's what I've been doing, especially since COVID started. I went back to doing my daily practice. Yeah.
Right. And that's interesting because, well, I learned something new about you because I didn't know you started yoga back in college. I thought you started yoga maybe a year before you started becoming a trainer, a yoga trainer. So I was just like, oh, so I learned something new today. I didn't know that.
You know, because it was always something I did like on my own, but I think I started posting and really talking about it, about a year before I became a teacher. Marketing, again, you know, just letting people know, like, that's what I do. But I've been doing it since I was at Hofstra. Like, they had a yoga at Hofstra. That's what I was doing,
Wow. And for people who who never taken a yoga class, let me just tell y'all something right now. It is not easy. I did my first yoga class in 2013. I thought I was going to die. I thought because, you know, at that time I was very active and I was in the gym and I was doing all types of, you know, I was doing weights and I was in pretty decent shape at that time. And I went in there thinking that I was going to kill it and crush it like it was going to be nothing.
You don't
and I went in there in the first 2 minutes, I was sweating like I've never sweat before. Like it was as if I did a full body workout for an hour. I went in there and I couldn't even hang. I mean, I did the best I could the first time around. But it was insane. And I was like, oh, this is what yoga is. I said, oh, I had no clue. It really humbled my soul. It really truly humbled me. But the more
it's such a funny thing you said that, because that's a big thing in yoga is your ego. Because you could be practicing yoga for almost 20 years like me. I'm still only 30. But you know, and you just have a day where just nothing is working. Like, you know, you think that, okay, and that's a big yoga principle where it's like, you know, your ego is something that just cannot be in your practice. Like, I may be able to do a headstand one day and for a week I can't do it because that's just how it works. You know, your whole focus is not really on, it's not doing a headstand. Like that's the whole point. It's the act of
headstand.
but people get caught up in that, or I can't touch my toes, or that's not the point. The whole point of yoga is that you have to get over that ego that you have. Like, because you're looking at other people and you're like, I'm stronger than that person. Why can they touch their toes, but I can't? It don't matter.
It was different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's completely different. But what I noticed the benefits were, is that once I did my other workouts and I was doing boxing at the time too, that the recovery was amazing. Like I wasn't in so much pain after my other workouts that I was doing too. And then as I got older, then I realized the mental health benefits behind yoga too. So I was just like, whoa, this stuff is amazing.
Once you get past all of that, the whole principle of yoga is strictly mental. It's learning how to be in the present, because so many of us, I'm so guilty of this. You're thinking about, what am I going to do tomorrow? You know, what am I going to do, you know, after I get off this live? What am I going to do after dinner? Like, and yoga teaches you, like, that doesn't matter. Like, what are you doing now? You're on live. Like, that's what you should be focusing on. That's the whole point of yoga. Because people are like, oh, no, if you practice for years, you could do splits. That's not the point. The point is all mental. Is just you being present now. You know? So all of those cool moves everybody's doing, that's great. But you're right. It's the benefit of your mental health and being in the moment. That's the whole point of it. That a lot of
after my first class, I was in the front and I thought I was going to do something and I embarrassed myself. So now, if you know, well, not right now, but when I was going to your class, I head straight to the back where I belong. And I just sit there and I don't embarrass myself because it's that because once you do it on and off, it's like you're doing it again for the first time every single time. Like you
You
got to
gotta
be so
do it.
consistent with yoga.
You gotta do it daily because, like, now if I stop, and I did stop for a couple of months last year, and when I started up again in the pandemic, like I'm getting pains in places that, like, I'm like, wait, I'm catching Charlie horses. Like, I'm just starting myself, and I'm like, I've been practicing for almost 20 years, but taking a couple of months off, your whole body has to get used to that again. So daily practice is definitely the way to go if you could do it.
So I'm gonna tell you what happened to me. So this is an exclusive that I'm telling you on live. I haven't, I tore in my left knee, tendon in my quad, right? And if you ask me how I did it, I was beating everybody's ass, and boom, oh, my knee is gone. But that's not what happened. What happened was I went for a walk. I went for a walk around my neighborhood because it's quarantine. I took a walk, 30 minutes. Boom, came back, took a shower, came back out. I stretched my knee out. Boom.
Oh my God.
Pain. I've never felt this type of pain. I couldn't put any weight on my left knee.
Oh my God.
Swelled up the very next day. I don't know where this came from. I don't have a good story. I have no good story. I wish I did. Boom, done, finished. So now I had to go to MRI. I had to go. Now I'm in physical therapy, and I said, man, if I would have just continued, like, continuously done yoga, this probably wouldn't have happened to me. And the doctor said, well, it was probably really, really tight to a point, and that walk probably was just the last straw. And I was just like, man, all I did was go for a walk. I felt old in my soul, because I really don't know how that happened. So yoga has a lot of good physical and mental benefits, especially for your mental health. And once I'm cleared to go back and start physical activity again, I'll be reincorporating yoga in my daily routines, because I can't have this keep happening to me because I'm still relatively young, like yourself. So let's switch gears a little bit. So let's talk relationships now. Now let's talk. So you're happily married, right?
Yes.
And shout out to Phil. And so what have you learned throughout these years? Not just of marriage, but just because I know you. So, like, coming from when you were younger, to where you are now, what is probably one of the most valuable lessons that you've learned about relationships?
That's a very good question. For me, I feel no relationship. It's hard to say relationship because I'm married. So,
well, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Everything I'm comparing it to is more like, being married and not being married. But for me, I think that it's very important, regardless what type of relationship you're in, for you and your partner to be on the same page at all times. And it's just knowing that, or having the right partner, relationship, you should not be bumping heads all the time. It shouldn't, it's not, if you're with the right person, it's not difficult.
Right.
It's easy. And I think I learned that when I started dating Phil. Like, it's not, relationships is not work. It shouldn't be work. If it's work, like, I already have a full-time job. Like, I don't have, I'm not working.
You got like 5, yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm Jamaican. And I think it's, Phil and I are always on the same page. Like, we don't bump heads. We don't argue. We've been married 2.5 years. Like, because I just feel like when you're with the right person, you know it. And subconscious, when you're with the wrong person, you know it also, but a lot of people stay because
Talk about it.
they like something about that. I would feel, you know, you may like what the person is doing for you or how the person looks or blah, 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 but you're bumping heads all the time. And I hear that so much. Oh my God, relationships are hard or marriage is hard or, you know, and I'm like, it shouldn't be. If you're with you're supposed to be with. So I think that is the only tip I have for people, because every relationship, every marriage looks completely different.
Of course.
That it shouldn't be hard. Like it shouldn't be hard. It shouldn't be work. If you feel like it's just stressing you out, you're not with the right person. I'm not saying that you're not going to have disagreements, because everybody has disagreements.
Of course.
It's not saying that your spouse, because I know I get on Phil's nerves. I know, you know.
I mean, hell, you got on my damn. No, I'm just kidding.
I get on my own nerves sometimes. You know, not saying that it's perfect. I'm just saying like it should just be easy. Like your partner is to complement your life and to complement you. Not to me. It's like a friendship. You should not be friends with people who make it difficult. Like, you know, to be friends with them. No sense. So that's something that I learned once I got with my husband, because I was one of those people who will stay in a relationship and I'm fighting with you and I'm cursing you out. Like, oh my gosh. Like,
yeah.
why? You know?
I remember those calls.
Yeah.
I remember those calls, those conversations. Yeah.
Fight people.
Me too.
Like,
you know, I think, you know, I think, but you know what's funny? I think that we push this thing of struggle love. Like when people say for better or for worse, I think people distort it, right? Because then it says that we need to go through, it could be infidelity, it could be physical abuse, verbal abuse, and then they're sitting there 25 years later saying, well, we made it through all of the dysfunction. And it's like, that's not a medal of honor for me. I mean, for me. That's not a medal of honor to get through things. Like we promote this whole thing of, you know, it's not going to be easy. And, you know, you said for better or for worse, but it's like, yeah, but here's the problem with that. You're not going to take years off of my life by stressing me out every day. Right. I think so. We've got to do a better job at really telling people that it's not just about struggle of all the time, 24/7 and just pushing through. That comes from the old school a lot of times, you know what I'm saying? Where it's like, well, we've been married 40 years, you know what I'm saying? And we made it through hell and high water. And it's like, yeah, but y'all ain't been happy 30 out of the 40 years. Y'all may have been happy for 10, maybe, right? So it's just, I think that we got to do a better job of explaining these things, because struggle and maybe not being easy can mean something completely different. It can mean one person's going through physical battle, health battle. You know what I mean? Somebody might lose their job, you know, just different things. Somebody might fall. Yeah, like somebody might, you know, right. And that's what I'm saying. So we've got to sometimes change the narrative on what getting through and what the struggle really is, because sometimes people take it and say, well, I'm going to put up with being cheated on 10, 11 times. I'm going to be, you know, put up with him going upside my head a couple times and verbally abusing me and cursing me out, and vice versa too. Right, this is toxic culture that we have when it comes to relationships, that we got to just keep pushing through, and it's like, dog, man, that's not where it's at, because that stuff takes a toll on your life internally. It takes a toll on your health mentally, and then that turns into physical stuff, you know, heart attacks, things like that. And so I'm happy that you said that, because it makes all the difference that we kind of change the narrative on what forever, you know, really truly means, and what for better or for worse really, really means, versus kind of what society says that it means. You know what I'm saying? So definitely thank you for that. So looking back, I know you said you're only 30, right? So looking back on what would you tell your 21-year-old self? If you look back right now, like what would you tell the 21-year-old saying?
I don't know if I would change anything. I don't know if I would tell my younger self anything, because I'm so content where I am in my life.
That's powerful.
that I feel like everything I've been through got me to this contentment, you know?
Right.
So I don't know what I would change. I don't know, maybe, no, because I was investing back then. I don't know what to tell my younger self to do, because I feel like I'm not a person who live with regret. I'm not a person who lives in the past.
Right.
And like I said, I'm at a place, maybe if I was still, you know, a boutique owner, you know, 10 years in and unhappy, or in an unhappy relationship, then I can give my, you know, my past self like advice. But I can honestly say today I'm exactly where I should be, where I'm happy to be. And I think everything I've done led up to this point.
So my brother Brian says, salute to Phil and Sam. Black love and entrepreneurship is a great look. Appreciate you, bro. Jen said, nobody got time for that arguing. Life is short. Enjoy who you are with. Amen. Amen.
I'm not arguing with anybody at all.
Yo, it's crazy. So let's just say you met somebody who was 21. She came to you, she said, Sam, I want advice. Would you tell me? And she's 21, 22, 23. She's young, has a whole life ahead of her. Like, what would you tell her? What advice would you tell her?
Well, my sister is 20. So the advice.
True. Shout out to her.
My sister's still crazy. You know, for her, I tell her, I do tell her, like, you know, she has to figure out what's right for her and not really listen to what everyone says, you know, in the sense that we wanted her to go to college, but it just wasn't for her. You know, like my sister's a little bit different because she has a very clear sense of who she is, which is one of the things that I love about her. Even though she's crazy, she has a very clear sense of who she is. But I, you know, we've actually been having conversation about entrepreneurship, you know, and she is one of those people who, she says she wants to move to Atlanta. You know how I feel about Atlanta. She wants to move to Atlanta. And she actually wants to open gas stations, which I just thought it was just having that conversation with someone who's 20. I don't know if it's because we're in just a different age where people see entrepreneurship more often than maybe we were when we were that age.
Of course. 100%.
Yeah. So for her to say, yeah, you know, hey sis, like I'm thinking about like moving down south and opening up like a 7-Eleven and a gas station. And I'm like, yes, you know, yes. And my advice to her was, you know, mentoring, like getting a job at those places to make sure that that's the right move for you. Speaking to people who own gas stations and even to our peers, people our age in their 30s. You know, I think that's an advice for everyone. Like whatever you want to do in life, find people who are already doing that. And have those conversations, figure out how they got to that place they're at. And, you know, that was the last advice, the latest advice, I should say, that I gave her, like, you know what? And now that's what she's doing. She's actually working at 7-Eleven to get that experience, to make sure that it's something that she wants. So I think that's what I would tell every 21-year-old. Like, you don't have to go to college if it's not right for you. You don't have to do anything that's not right for you. Figure out what you want. Sit down and figure out what you want to do, and then make a plan. And I mean, that's for everybody.
And it's funny because, you know, growing up, I think the only thing I saw, the only person who I saw that had their own business was Mr. Hammond, was Phil's pops. So I was like, oh, he's rich. you know, I was, because in my head, I said, you know, I didn't see many people owning businesses, and the people that I saw owning businesses didn't look like me. And I was just like, oh man, like you must have to have a lot of money to even remotely open up a business. And it wasn't until I got older, you know, and you started meeting different people who had businesses, and you're like, oh, well, they must be like, you know, they must have started like with $1 million. And it was like, no, you definitely don't, right? And so you start to learn. But I didn't get that education till I was much older. Versus now, I think you get to see a lot more exposure to people owning their own businesses, even if they have a 9 to 5. They have a
Yep.
business like on the side and stuff like that. So the exposure is completely different. They're seeing things from a different lens than what we are because one, as Jen said, like um there's so many ways to see. Like, the internet's here, right? Social media is here. So you have more access to information
Yeah.
we did. And that's dope. But the interesting thing is you have to like you saw that and you started younger, much younger than a lot of us started on the entrepreneurship journey. So I mean you had a head start. That's pretty good.
But
Like
my head
Jen
start was
said,
just because I just didn't want to work for nobody. I just didn't want to
yo,
clock in
I
at
don't
9
either.
o'clock.
I feel you. Yeah,
That was
so Jen
that
said the
was
of the nah, yeah, so Jen said the fear is money to start a business. And that's true. I thought like that too at a point, that it takes a lot of money to start a business, but
it
it
doesn't.
doesn't take a lot of money. It doesn't take what you think, right? Especially if you do it in increments, right? And have somebody do it and help you out with it and start it for you. I mean, you can literally file your business for like $500.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, of course, it depends on the state, but I believe in New York State, you can file for your LLC for like $500. And if you don't want to do that, then you could do a DBA. And I think to do a DBA is like $50, something like that. You go down to the county clerk and start your DBA if you don't want to do an LLC.
That's
So,
how I started as a travel agent because I was
mhm,
hosted, which means that I had my own business under another company, which is basically what
mhm,
my company does now. And I started with, they had a monthly payment. It was like $20 a month. And I went to the courthouse and filed my
mhm,
DBA for $35. So I literally started my
yep,
business, for under like $60. And that's something I
mhm,
tell my agents too, because um, I'm really big on not spending a lot of money if you don't have to. And
right,
that's like the first thing a lot of my agents, when they sign up with my agency, they're like, okay, so should I, do an incorporation or LLC? I'm like, well, you don't even have clients yet. Like, um,
right. Slow down.
like, right. Why would you pay hundreds of dollars when you haven't even had your first booking? Like
Mhm,
everyone wants the end results. And I feel like if
mhm,
you, like you said, do it in stages,
mhm,
it becomes so much more manageable.
mhm,
We just got like a business loan for the first time. I'm 5 years in, and it was like,
mhm,
okay, now I need a business loan. Like now I need something else to grow.
mhm,
But all of my
right.
business before were all self-funded.
Right. And you could even, and with DBAs, you can actually go into, like, once you get your paperwork from the state, you can actually go in and get a bank account under that DBA too. They'll just use your social and use it as a tax ID number instead. So that's something that you can do and get started, let's just say for $35. And then once, let's just say if you're growing and things like that, then you can get your LLC. And even still, even LLC is just $500, which isn't much. People spend $500 on a vacation, or half of that. You know what I'm saying? On a vacation, they'll spend more of that on a vacation, right? So,
Yeah. And
it's
for travel
doable if
agents,
you have a
that
plan.
yeah, for travel agents, that's commission from one client, right? So one, maybe two clients. So again, if you start your business, and not just as a travel agent, but anyone, but I have
Hmm.
experience as a travel agent, so I could,
Of
say
course.
that if you start and you just have a DBA that you pay $35 or $50 from, you have your first booking, you're making, then, oops, sorry, I had a call.
Hmm.
Then
Hmm.
you can reinvest that money in your business. Then if you choose to do a LLC or an INC, or if you choose to market, or if you, that I always tell people, reinvest your money, you know, into
Right.
growing your business. You don't have to get loans. You don't have to save up hundreds of thousands of dollars. You can start very small and then
Right.
just invest the profits.
Right. And that's so important because sometimes people are saying, I don't want to spend $500 to get an LLC, but it's like, man, like you're investing in yourself, right? If you have that passion to open something or do something,
Yep.
you should go ahead and do it. And even if you don't start with the LLC, a DBA, I'm sure with whatever it is that you're doing, you'll get your $35 back, right? Whatever it is you're
And if
doing or
you
selling, I'm
don't,
sure you'll get your $35 back.
and if you
And if you
don't, you
don't,
need to do another business. Like,
well, true,
if you,
but even if so, let's just say the first couple months or a few months you don't. My thing is you spend $35 on a pair of jeans. So
right.
and that you don't own. You know what I'm saying? So you wearing somebody else's jeans for $35 when you could have your own business for $35, right? So it's just an investment in yourself, you know what I'm saying, to bet on yourself. And you don't even have to quit your job if you don't feel like it.
No.
But sometimes people say, oh, quit your job and just go. But my thing is, even if you have a job, you can use the money from there to invest in your business, right?
Absolutely.
There's so many things that in society, like we said, oh, we started from zero and we just quit my job. And it's like, well, it depends on where you're at in life. That's number one. If you have big responsibilities, a mortgage, kids, maybe you can't just up and quit at that moment. But you're working and you could use some of the money that you're getting from your job to invest in your business. $35 is not much. $500, you use that on a vacation. You know what I'm saying? Just for you. And if you got a kid, you're spending $2,500 probably, or $3,000 or $4,000. So $500 of that could be your LLC.
And
So
to make another note that a lot of people are looking for get rich quick schemes
yes,
or this
yes,
thing. You have to remember, and this is so important, and it's again what I said in the beginning, that you have to look at your business long term. Like that's the only way that it will make sense, because it takes 3 years, a typical business. And again, in the age of social media and online business, it's a little bit different, but a typical business takes 3 years to break even, right? If you look at it that way. So now if you do have an online business or a business that there's not a lot of overhead, you're already ahead of in the game, but you still have to look at it like a typical business. I should be breaking even in 3 years.
right.
Most people are not making 6 figures starting out their first year. They have 3, 5, 7 years of work to make that 6 figure. So that's something else. People feel like people have to have realistic expectations also when they're starting their business, and do it long term. Whatever you're doing, make sure that you are looking at the results over a period of time, and also how much money you're spending over a period of time.
And that's super important. And get your paperwork straight and make sure that your tax stuff is okay. Just make sure that all that stuff is straight for the government, or else you won't have a business. Yeah, taxes is a little different, but just to make sure that you have all of your ducks aligned in a row. If you can't do the LLC yourself, or the DBA is it's much simple. But if you're doing an LLC or a C Corp or S Corp or whatever the case is, if you can't do it yourself, get somebody to represent you, get somebody to either help you through it or hire somebody to just do it. Believe me, it'll save you a lot of headaches, especially with the government, and because you want to make sure that all your ducks are in a row. So just want to put that out there for people who are absolutely thinking about starting a business. So with all that said, just talk us through all the services that you provide at Just Ventures. Like you do a lot. I know that you do the group thing, you do the luxury travel, you do the weddings, the honeymoons and all of that. So I want you to tell everybody just what you offer going forward.
So for me, because I'm different than Just Adventures is my business, but me as a travel agent, my specialty is destination wedding, honeymoons, that kind of stuff. Like I love the love stuff. And I'm also doing group trips again starting next year because I needed a break because I was just doing too much. So we are back to doing group trips. My company, I do have agents, in-house agents who do everything else. They do cruises, destination weddings, all of that great stuff. On the flip side, my company is also what's called a host agency. So we do host other people's businesses under our business. So we train them how to be travel agents. You know, they use our industry IDs and things like that, but they're their own separate businesses. So my company does both. We are a regular travel agency, but we also teach people how to become a travel agent, and we basically host their companies under ours. So if you wanted to become a travel agent and open up your own agency, you don't have to get, you know, all of the, seller of travel and all of the insurance and all of that stuff. You can actually use a host agency's information, if that makes sense to you guys. So that's what my company does. So we have almost 80 hosted agents, and we have 4 in-house agents, including myself. So yeah. And
so you have
it's
4.
going to be our third.
So you said 4 agents in-house and 80 that are kind of that you host, right? Okay, so that makes sense.
Yeah, they're their own businesses. They're their own, you know, some of my hosted agents, they have their own agents under them. But our company trains everyone. I do weekly, you know, training and mentorships and all of that good stuff. So yeah, we do a lot. Myself, I do weddings. I do weddings, honeymoons, group trips, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let me see. Oh, Jen said, okay, so she wants your information. I love information for future travel, honeymoon, and bachelorette needs. Okay, cool. So how can she get in touch with you?
Yes, so if you go on to my Instagram page, there is a link in my profile, and it will link you directly to our agency's website, and you can contact me that way.
Perfect. So this has been very informative. Because I was wondering about that, you know, because I think it was before you even started the agency thing, you know, I was looking at, you know, when I was younger, I was like, oh, like maybe I'll work at Liberty Travel and stuff like that, like, you know, and do that kind of stuff. And I was into sales at that time, and I was doing all that. And then I saw different websites that were saying, oh, like, you know, that they would host, like, be a host agency. And I was like, well, like, what is that? I had no clue what that was. And they were like, well, yeah, like, you can work under us, and kind of the same thing that you're doing. But I didn't understand what the difference was. Like, why wouldn't I open my own versus just going with the host agency? I was just like,
no,
why do that?
And a lot of people don't. And I just want to make it very clear too, if anyone. Yes, Brian, I'm trying. You know, there's a big difference between also a host agency and an MLM. So if anyone is interested, make sure that you know the difference. And as you guys know, an MLM in travel can be a pyramid scheme. So you definitely want to make sure that you stay away from those companies. Any company that is asking you to recruit other people are not host agencies. Okay.
Yeah, they got me.
Host agencies are like, we're hosting you, we're teaching you how to sell travel. Our whole thing is you're selling travel. We don't care if you recruit anybody. If you do, you're recruiting them for your own company. But when I first started, I actually told people not to recruit anyone. So we didn't even allow people to do that, because I'm like, I have to train you first, because you're using my company's credential. You're not going to just be out here not knowing what you're going to do, and then you're recruiting others. You know, so that's the difference. So yes, if you guys are interested in becoming travel agents, make sure that you do your research into the different types of host agencies, but you want to make sure you're with a host agency, not an MLM.
Gotcha. And if they want to become an agent or find a host agency, then they can go to Just Ventures and
Yes.
sign up that way. Oh,
Yes.
perfect, perfect.
So justadventures.com, my website. Again, there's a link in my profile, and right under careers, you could just click it and then you can read some more information on it. Also, you know, I do have a staff. So if you guys want to sorry. See, I'm getting the hang of doing a live.
Mhm.
You know, you could definitely speak to my office manager and, you know, my staff, and they're amazing. So they could also walk you through it. Yeah.
Perfect. So we're coming up on an hour. This goes by pretty
This
fast.
was
Um,
fun. I'm gonna be
yeah.
from now on. I'm just gonna be like, hey, what y'all doing?
Hey, listen, you should. I mean, it's a great. I mean, it's a great tool.
Yeah.
And I hope that you can come back on and do this again. But is there any parting advice that you just want to give to people, based off your experiences, or it could be about life, relationships, business. I mean, if you want to give anybody some advice, some parting words.
What is some good advice? I think for me, in terms of career, because I don't think everyone should be an entrepreneur. It's not for everyone. Just make sure,
Mm-hmm.
and this could be in any aspect of your life. Just make sure everything you're doing that you love to do. You know, I think it was Jen, your friend Jen, like, or
Yeah.
someone said, like, life is too short. Life is too short to be
Yes.
unhappy, to be in an unhappy relationship. Life is too short to have miserable friends. Life is too short to do a job you hate. You know, it's just, we're not promised tomorrow. So I am a
Right.
strong believer in that you need to live your life to the fullest. Because we don't know how long we're here. So everything you do, and of course, you know, it seems very like, oh yeah, you know, just I should quit my job and travel the world. No, of course not. But just make sure that whatever you're doing, that you're doing something that you love, because life is short, you know?
Dope. I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. I just want to say thank you again. Appreciate you for doing this with me. I think it has been informative for all the people that have joined us. You dropped a lot of gems, and I definitely appreciate that. You are a queen of the highest order. I appreciate you for all of you done down through the years, and being my friend. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. All right. And I guess we'll see you soon.
Live.
I mean, this is amazing. Yeah, clap for it. This is your first live that you're doing, and you did it with me. And I sincerely appreciate it. And you should do some more because you got a lot to say.
We'll see. We'll see.
I'm not gonna put nothing else on your plate. I'm not gonna put nothing else on your plate. Okay, cool. All right, perfect. All right, so listen. Yep. On that note, I will definitely speak to you soon. I'll give you a call. All right. Thank you.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Take care. Good night.